How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to set up your very own off-grid solar system. I'm going to be setting it up to power this tool shed, but these principles are going to apply to whatever you want to solar power. Whether it be an RV, a boat, or really even your house, these same principles apply. So what I try to do is make the most beginner-friendly content on YouTube. So whether you have zero solar experience or a little bit of solar experience, I'm going to try to make this as plain and simple as possible for you. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 components that you need to make this work, which by the way are all available on Amazon. I'll have links down below to every single product that I use in this video, so you can just copy my setup if you want to. Okay, so let's talk about the 4 components you need, and don't let this intimidate you. I'm going to go over each one in detail. We're going to need at least 1 solar panel. We're going to need a battery to store the power that we get from the sun and send it back out so that we can use it. We're going to need a charge controller. This is going to make sure we don't send too much solar power into the battery. When the battery gets full, the charge controller is going to cut off the supply and make sure it doesn't overcharge the battery. And lastly, we're going to need an inverter. This takes the power from the battery and converts it into a form of electricity that we can actually use to power things. So for the setup I'm assembling today, it's all going to be based around this kit from ZOUPW. This kit contains 2 of our 4 components. It's got the solar panels and it has the charge controller, plus it has all the cables to make it all work together. I love kits like this because it just makes it so much easier. Oh, and quick disclaimer, ZOUPW did supply this kit to me for free for the video, but they're not paying me anything. I just genuinely really like their products. I've been using their folding 450 watt solar panel to add solar power to my house for a few weeks now, and it works great. It's been fantastic. So when they offered to send me this kit, I was like, absolutely. So this kit comes with 2 solar panels that are both 110 watts each. So together we're gonna have 220 watts. That's a cool thing about solar panels, is that it's very easy to string them together so you get more solar power coming in. So on the back of each solar panel, you're going to have 2 cables. You're going to have your positive one, which is clearly marked with a red plus sign, and your negative one, which has a black minus sign. These connectors at the end are called MC4 connectors, and what I love about these is you really can't mess it up. They only go together one way, so you don't have to be scared of these things. They're very easy to hook up. This ZOUPW kit also came with these 2 Y connectors. So what you're going to do is grab your positive cable from one of your solar panels, and you'll see which Y connector it goes into. It can only plug into this one. It cannot plug into this one. See, these are 2 male ends, so they won't go together. So find your Y connector with the female ends, and you're going to take your positive cable and plug it right in, just like that. Now take your positive cable from your other panel and plug it into the other female end. Now you're going to take your negative cable from one of your solar panels, and this is going to go the same way. You're going to plug it into the male end of your Y connector. Same thing with this cable. It's going to go on the other male end. There you go. Now also included in the kit is both the positive and negative cable that's going to run from your solar panels to your charge controller. And you see these have these same MC4 style connectors on the end of them, and they're clearly marked negative and positive. Once again, thanks to these MC4 connectors, these can only go one way. You see this Y connector has a male end, so it'll plug into the female cable, and the other Y connector has a female end, so it'll plug into the male cable. But once you plug these cables in and then set your solar panels outside in the sun, you're going to have electricity flowing through these cables. And you see the other end of these cables is just bare wire. So I'm not going to connect these to the panels yet. I am going to go ahead and set my solar panels outside, and then I'll connect these in a minute. So I've got this shelf outside of my shed, and that's where I'm going to put my panels. The ZOUPW kit does come with mounting hardware for both panels, so one day I think I'll mount them to my roof. But for now they'll be fine just sitting out here. They don't get hit with a ton of wind right here, so I'm not worried about them flying away or anything. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but right there is a little hole that I've drilled. Here it is from the inside of my shed. I'm still not going to connect these cables yet, but I can go ahead and snake them through that hole. So I'm going to take the end with the exposed wire and I'm going to send that through the hole. So now I've got the MC4 connector still outside, so it'll be ready to plug into the panel whenever I get to that step. Now I just got to do the same thing with the positive cable. There we go, I've got my positive cable snaked through as well, and it's also ready to be plugged into the solar panels whenever we get there. And back inside, there you can see both cables coming through. And the cables that come with this kit are quite long, so it gives you a lot of flexibility on where you want everything to be placed. I'm going to have my setup based down here in the corner, sort of tucked out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. And so I'm gonna have a lot of excess wire that I'm gonna have to sort of zip tie up. You could snip this shorter and it would look a little cleaner, but like I said, one day I might mount my panels on the roof, and so I want to keep this extra cable length in case I ever need it. Okay, I got my excess cable zip tied up down here, and I mounted this little scrap piece of wood I had because this is where I'm going to put my charge controller. The charge controller that comes in this kit is a 30 amp charge controller, and I'll explain more about what that means in a minute, but just know that it gives you room for future upgrades. You can add more solar panels to this setup in the future and have even more solar power coming in. That's what I really like about this kit, is it gives you a good starting point at a solid price, but it also future-proofs your setup a little bit in case you want to upgrade it. Okay, I've mounted my charge controller using the screws that came with the kit. And if you take a look at this charge controller, you'll see it has a little solar panel icon here. That's where we're going to plug these cables in that come from the solar panels. But we're not going to do that yet because first we have to plug in the battery. Also, you see there's a little light bulb here. You can run lights directly from the charge controller. And also on the bottom, there's 2 USB-A ports if you want to plug in something via USB. But the first thing we're going to do is hook up the battery. So let's talk about the battery and the inverter, and then we'll come back to this. So the battery I'm going to be using is this Renogy Pro S1 240 amp hour battery. And this battery is quite expensive. You can get batteries that will work with this setup no problem, that are much cheaper. But this one is very high tech and has a lot of really cool features. For example, you can connect to it with an app and it'll show you how much power it's putting out and how charged it is. Plus it has a lot of safety features and it's IP67 dust proof, which is important to me since I do a lot of woodworking out here. So if you have the extra money, I do really like this battery, but just know that you don't have to spend that much to make this setup work. You can just get a regular battery without all the tech features for a lot cheaper. This is a 12 volt battery, which is important because the voltage of your battery has to be supported by your charge controller and your inverter. Most common solar components are 12 volts, but 48 volt setups are becoming increasingly popular. Some components will work with multiple voltages. They'll say like 12 volts / 24 volts. That's how the charge controller that comes with this kit is. It's a 12 volt or 24 volt charge controller. So with this ZOUPW kit, you can use a 12 volt or 24 volt battery. And I'm using a 12 volt, so I just have to also make sure that my inverter supports 12 volts. And as you can see, it does. It says 12 volts DC. So I'm using a Renogy 2000 watt inverter. It's going to take electrical current from the battery and make it so that we can power things by plugging right into these AC ports. I went with a 2000 watt inverter because that's enough watts to power everything I want to do out here. My miter saw, table saw, and shop vac all use about 1200 to 1500 watts each. So 2000 watts will give me enough to run those no problem as long as I don't run them at the same time. So just think about what you want to power, look up how many watts those items draw, and then use that to decide how many watts your inverter should be. So now it's time to hook everything up. So the first thing I'm going to do to get the battery ready is add a terminal fuse. This is a safety mechanism that basically creates an intentional weak point in the connection. So cables can only carry so much electrical current, and if too much electrical current goes through them, they start to heat up, and that's how fires start. A fuse makes sure that that does not happen. If too much current gets pushed through the fuse blows and breaks the connection. That way, all of that electrical current doesn't even go through your cable, and there's no heat being generated. The electrical current that I'm talking about is measured in amps. Fuses come in different sizes, so we have to figure out how many amps should be allowed to go through it before it blows. Since I'm using a 2000 watt inverter and my battery is 12 volts, that tells me we're going to be looking at about 167 amps flowing through it. However, my inverter can handle surges up to 4000 watts. 4000 watts at 12 volts is over 300 amps. I don't ever plan on using that much, but I do want a little bit of wiggle room in case I do exceed 2000 watts. So I went with a 300 amp fuse. This will give us a little bit of breathing room in case we exceed 2000 watts, but if more than 300 amps gets pushed through this thing, the fuse is going to blow and the connection is going to break and keep us safe. These fuses cost like less than 15 bucks, and I think that extra layer of safety is well worth that. So to connect the fuse, you're going to take this nut off of it and then take all these washers off. This piece is the actual fuse, and you see it says 300 amps on there. You're just going to slide that on. Now I'm going to remove the bolt from the positive terminal of my battery. And now this bolt is going to go through the fuse like so, and I'm just going to screw it back in. So essentially what we've done is create a new positive terminal for our battery, but this one just has an extra layer of safety on it. Now your inverter is going to have holes to where you can mount it on the wall as well, but these things do get a little bit warm, so you don't want to mount it straight up against like straight plywood or anything. What I'm going to do for now is just sit it on this shelf, and I think I'll get like a piece of cement board or something that's not flammable and sit it underneath here. But just for the purposes of the video, I'm just going to sit it right here. And the inverter came with both a negative and positive cable that you can use to hook it to your battery. So the back of the inverter has these terminal covers that you can just pinch and pull off, and that exposes your terminals. Each terminal has a little bolt in there that you can just unscrew with a Phillips head screwdriver. And now we can connect these big battery cables. So you're going to take your big old battery cable and slide it through the terminal cover. You see there's a hole in the end. So you can just slide it through like that. You're just going to line the holes up with the terminal on the inverter. Put your bolt back through. Now you can just screw that in. And there's a little nut that goes on the bottom. Make sure you get all this nice and tight because you don't want to lose connection. Now you can push your terminal cover back in place. Now you got to do the same thing for the negative. Okay, I've got both my negative and positive cables connected to the inverter. Now we're ready to connect these to the battery. I'm going to remove the bolt from the negative terminal of the battery. There it is. Now, at the same time that we connect these two big battery cables that go to the inverter, we also need to connect the cable that's going to go from the battery to the charge controller. So this is included in the ZO UPW kit. You see it has a positive and negative ring terminal that's going to go on the battery, and then it's got a positive and negative exposed wire that's going to go into the charge controller. Before you connect the other end of this cable to the battery, you're going to want to plug it into the charge controller. Now if you remember on the charge controller, it's got the little battery icon here with a plus and a minus. The red end is going to go in the plus and the black end is going to go in the minus. So to plug these cables in here, you just have to take a Phillips head screwdriver and put it in the hole like this. There's a little Phillips head screw in there, so just loosen it up. Loosen up your positive as well. Now you can put these wires in through these bottom holes. So I'm going to line up the red one with the positive hole, and now you can put your screwdriver back in there and tighten that screw. Now you can do the same thing with the negative. After you get them in there and you get the screws tightened down, give them just a gentle little tug. Make sure they're not going to fall out of there. Nice and snug in there. Now we can hook up the cables to the battery. So I'm going to put my positive battery cable from the inverter. Just going to slide it on like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the positive ring terminal from the cable that goes to the charge controller. Like so. Now you can grab all the washers that came with the terminal fuse and slide those back on there. And then here's the nut that came with the terminal fuse. I'm going to put it back on there too. I'm going to get this nut nice and snug. Once again, you don't want to lose connection. Once you get it good and snug, you can put this little rubber cap on over top. Now before we connect the negative terminal, there's something you need to know. So inside the inverter are what's called capacitors. It has capacitors that are currently empty. And so if we were to hook up the battery right now, it would create a little spark as the battery tries to rush a whole bunch of current into the inverter because of those empty capacitors. So let me show you a little technique you can do to avoid that spark. This is called a resistor. You can get them for like $1 a piece. They come in like a pack of 5 for $5, I think. I'll leave an Amazon link for these down below as well. But this is going to allow us to fill the capacitor in the inverter slowly so that whenever we hook up the cable to the battery, it doesn't spark. So take your cable that's connected to the inverter. This is what we're going to be connecting to the battery terminal, but you're going to take your resistor. You see there's these little metal pieces on either end, almost like a paper clip. So you can stick that through here and just kind of wrap it around. Make sure it's got a good solid connection there like that. So now you can touch the other end to the negative terminal on the battery for just a couple of seconds. And this is going to slowly fill the capacitors on the inverter, just like this. That should be good. Now you can take the resistor off. Now I'm going to take the inverter cable and the cable that's going to the charge controller. I'm going to take the bolt that we took out of the negative terminal. I'm going to thread it through both cables. Now I'm going to grab my screwdriver. We had just a little bit of a spark there. I don't know if you could see it. I probably waited too long after touching the resistor. But if we didn't use the resistor at all, then that spark would have been a lot worse. Now at this point, I could turn on the inverter and plug things in and start powering things, but the battery is going to run out of juice. So we still have to connect to the solar panels so that the battery is replenished by the sun. So you remember these cables that we ran through at the beginning of the video? Now it's time to take the bare wire end of these and put them in here the exact same way. We're going to loosen the screws, put the red in the positive, the black in the negative, and then tighten the screws, just like that. We're essentially done with the wiring part of it in here. There's only one thing left to do. It's time to connect the solar panels to the cables that we just attached to the charge controller. So you're going to take your male end from your solar panel, plug it into the female cable, and then take the female end from your solar panels and plug it into the male end of the cable. And there we go. Now, if we take a look at our charge controller, you see it's got a little solar panel icon that tells us that solar power is coming into the battery. And you can click through a couple of different screens on the charge controller. This one tells us that we've got 15 amps of solar power coming in, and we currently have 0 amps going out. So let's plug some stuff in. First thing I'm gonna plug in is this power strip that I have all of my cordless tool batteries plugged into. So if I switch the inverter on, you can see that all of my tool batteries are now charging. And now I've also just plugged in my big overhead light, and I'll use this other AC outlet for my saws and my shop vac. This inverter also comes with a remote that literally just plugs right into the inverter, and then you can run this wire to wherever you want the remote to be. I'm probably not gonna do this on camera because it's so simple. I don't wanna waste your time. You literally just plug it in and then screw it to the wall however you want to. But I think what I'll do is mount this over by the door, so as soon as I come in my shed, I can just hit the power button and then I have power, everything's turned on. So now if we look at the Renogy app that is connected to the battery, we've got 92 watts going out and 22 hours of runtime remaining, and the battery is 63.4% charged. So there you have it. There's the setup. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back because you now know how to assemble a traditional solar setup. And there's a lot of people who don't know how to do this, so you should be proud of yourself. So there you go. That's the tried and true way that just about everybody has been solar powering anything for years and years and years now. However, if you've made it this far in the video and you think this is still a little bit too complex for you and you want something simpler, I do have several videos about an even easier method to solar power things using solar power stations. So I'll leave a link to that video up here and also in the description if you want to check that out. That method gives you a little bit less flexibility, less customization, and if a part goes bad, you can't swap it out like you can with a setup like this. This method can also be a little bit cheaper if you want it to be, but the power station method is definitely easier. Thank you again to ZOUPW for supplying that kit for this video. Once again, I will leave Amazon products down below for everything I mentioned in this video. And thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more solar content just like this. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.